Hi, I'm Jennifer Murphy. I'm an associate professor of criminal justice at Penn State Berks. My colleague Brenda Russell and I have put together this presentation on educational trainings to reduce college students' stigma. There are two components to our presentation. One is an in-person training session we did with students in February 2020, and the second is an on-campus media campaign that took place over a couple of months in the fall 2020 semester. Both of these efforts were in an attempt to improve addiction knowledge and decrease stigma among college students. The educational training session was an in-person session that lasted about 3 hours. We had about 40 students take part in this session, 33 that we had data for completing both the pre-test and the post-test so we can analyze the results of the impact of this training session. We targeted majors in criminal justice, psychology, and rehabilitation and human services. The reason that we targeted those majors is that we believe these are students who will likely enter professions where they will encounter someone with a substance use disorder. They're very likely to. And we thought it would be innovative to do stigma reduction work while they're still students, so before they've actually even entered these careers, so that we can build that empathy, reduce that stigma even before they're on the job. This 3-hour session had multiple components. We had a local physician who specializes in addiction medicine talk about the science of drug addiction, talk about drug treatment, talked about the disease model of addiction. We had several speakers who had lived experience with addiction and recovery. We had a local police officer talk about an initiative that the police were doing where they visit overdose survivors and try to engage them in treatment. We had someone also talk about the warm handoff programs that were happening at local hospitals. And we also spent a significant amount of time doing a naloxone training session. So students learned how to use naloxone correctly, and then they were given the opportunity to take home naloxone after the session. Our pre and post tests showed that this session had good results in decreasing stigma and improving knowledge about addiction and support for the disease model. The largest effect we saw was that students improved their comfort and knowledge around using naloxone post-training. And in addition to comparing the pre and the post-test surveys among the students who completed the session, we also had a control group of students in those same majors who did not participate in the session, but took the same instruments that we could compare. And we also saw positive results compared to that control group. Because the pandemic shut down campus for the rest of the semester, we weren't able to replicate these training sessions throughout the semester like we had hoped to. So we then developed a virtual training where we cut down a lot of the 3-hour sessions into a 1.5-hour pre-recorded video that students could access. And this is an ongoing project now where we're still collecting data among students at many different Penn State campuses who can look at the video and complete the pre and post test surveys to determine whether or not we see stigma reduction there. The other component I want to talk about is the media campaign then that we did on campus. We had several students develop materials and distribute them around campus aimed at reducing stigma. Here's some examples of the flyers that the students created. These flyers were hung around campus and they were circulated over a couple of week period where they would be changed so that students weren't always just seeing the same flyers in the same spot. We developed some of these into larger posters. We had those around campus as well. On the television screens in common areas, we showed closed caption videos from the Story Powered Initiative, which is an effort that was started at Penn State Abington, where they recorded people talking about their experiences with addiction. So these stories were shown on television screens across campus. And Penn State Berks also showed some of these materials on their website during the campaign period. So we did see some positive impact of this campaign as well. So we're hopeful that having these kinds of efforts on campus can reduce stigma among college students. Thank you.